Wanda. Today we are going to discuss about the testing of a DC mission. How the DC mission will be tested. Okay, we are having the two types of testing methods are there. That is, first one is the direct method of testing and second one is indirect method of testing. Okay, the DC missions are tested by using following methods. That is direct method. Second one is the indirect method. Okay, first coming to the direct method. Okay, in this method, the DC mission is loaded directly. Okay, when we are applying the load directly and then we observe how the torque equation and what is the current and what are the efficiencies that will be obtained at various loads. Okay, that all will be observed by using directly when we are increasing the load, and how the load current will be obtained and what is the torque equation and what is the outputs. Okay, that all will be observed directly. Okay, in this method the DC mission is loaded directly by means of brake applied to water cooled pulley coupled to the shaft of a mission. Okay, the shaft of the mission is connected by the pulley. Okay, that pull by varying that pulley or by tightening that pulley belt, then automatically the load is added. Then automatically the load is added to the mission. Okay, when the load is added, automatically how we will observe the torque will be changes and how the currents will be changed and how the efficiency will be changed. Okay, that all will be observed by using directly applying the load. Okay, we are tightening that pulley, then automatically we are observing how the efficiency will be changed and what are the characteristics. So okay, that all will be changed by using the direct method when we are applying the direct load on a mission. Okay, it is practically possible to arrange the loads for a mission of large capacity. Okay, of a large capacity. Okay, normally, okay, what is the formula for efficiency? That is output by input. Okay, it is the ratio of output to the input. Okay, when we are applying the input to the mission, then how the output will be changed. Okay, that all will be observed when we are connecting the tightening the pulley directly. Okay, this type of method is called as the direct method. Okay, next coming to the indirect method. Okay, in that indirect method, we are having the two tests are there. That is, the first one is the brake test and second one is the Swinburne's test. Okay, the Hopkinson and Swinburne's test are commonly used as the shunt motor. Okay, in this method, the losses are determined without actual loading the mission. Okay, in this method, okay, the losses are determined without loading the mission. Okay, if the losses are known, the efficiency can be determined. Okay, what is the formula for efficiency? That is efficiency, it is eta is equal to output by input. Okay, output by input. Okay, what is the output formula? Input minus losses. Okay, what is the output formula? That is input minus losses. Output is equal to input minus losses. Okay, then we determining the efficiency of a mission. Okay, first one is the brake test. Okay, it is a direct method. Okay, brake test is the direct method and Swinburne's test is the indirect method. Okay, what is meant by the brake test? Okay, by directly applying the brakes to the mission by using the brake drum, then we observe how the output will be changed and what is the variations in the efficiency. Okay, that all will be observed directly. Okay, that all will be observed directly. Okay, it is a direct method of testing. Okay, brake test is a direct method of testing. Okay, in this method of testing, Motor shaft is coupled to a water cooled pulley. Okay, in brake test, the shunt motor shaft is coupled to the pulley. Okay, which is loaded by means of a weight. Okay, this is the pulley. Okay, this is loaded by means of the weight. Okay, this is the W1 weight and W2 weight. Okay, by varying this to this pulley, then automatically the total load will be obtained by the shaft. Okay, or increasing the load to the shaft. At various steps, we are observing when we are applying the load to the pulley, how the efficiency will be changed. Okay, that all will be observed directly. Okay, this is the pulley and this is the radius of that pulley. Okay, this is connected by the weights, that is S1 and the S2. Okay, by tightening these weights, then automatically the belt is tightened. Okay, therefore the weight of that pulley is added for the motor shaft gradually. Okay, therefore at various steps we are observing how the load will be varying, how the efficiency and the torque and the currents will be changed. Okay, that are various characteristics, how it will be changed. Okay, that all will be observed directly by using direct load test or the brake test. Okay, in this case W1 is the weight in kgs. Okay, that is this is the weight of that W1, that is the S weight, and W2 is the spring balance, S2 weight. Okay, S2 weight, and R is the radius of this pulley, and N is the speed in RPM, and V is the supply voltage, I is the full load current. Okay, I is the full load current. Okay, next, net pulley due to the friction. Okay, net pulley due to the friction. Okay, what is the formula for net pulley? That is W1 minus W2 kgs. Okay, then this weight is multiplied with 9.81. That is the gravity. Force of gravity, that is 9.81 into W1 minus W2. Next, shaft torque. Okay, what is the formula for TSH? TSH is equal to W1 minus W2 into R. R is the radius of the brake drum. R is the radius of the brake drum. Okay, then it is equal to the kg per meter. Then it will be converted into the Newton by multiplying the 9.81. Okay, therefore shaft torque, that is TSH. Therefore, the shaft torque TSH is equal to 9.81 into W1 minus W2 Newton meters. Okay, W1 minus W2 into R Newton meters. Okay, consider this is the equation number 1 and this is the equation number 2. Okay, both will be measured in the newtons and this is the Newton meters. Okay, next we calculate the motor output power. Okay, how we will calculate the output power? That is torque into 2 pi n by 60. Okay, 2 pi n by 60. Okay, this shaft torque is multiplied with 2 pi n by 60. Then we obtain the output power. Next, what is the input for that motor? Electrical energy, that is V into I watts. Okay, that is V into I watts. Okay, this is the equation number 3. Next, efficiency. Okay, what is the formula for efficiency? That is output by input. Next, what is the output? Therefore, efficiency is equal to output by input. Okay, what is the output? That is shaft torque into 2 pi n by 60. Shaft torque into 2 pi n by 60 by input. Okay, what is the input power? That is electrical energy, that is V into I. Okay, this is the efficiency of a DC shunt motor under brake test or the load test. Okay, when we are conducting the brake test or the load test, okay, then by using this formula, we determining the efficiency at each and every loading point. Okay, this method of test can be used for small motors only. Why? Because means for large motor it is difficult to arrange for dissipation of the heat generated at brake. Okay, that's why this type of direct method or the load test is suitable for the small missions. Okay, this type of method is suitable for the small missions. Okay, understand ma? First of all, what is meant by direct test? That is the brake test. Okay, directly we apply the load on the pulley. Okay, by using the pulley we apply the load on the shaft. Okay, this is the pulley. Okay, this is the pulley. The radius of that pulley is the R, and the weights of that pulley is the W1 and the W2. Okay, by increasing the weights of that pulley, then automatically the motor shaft is gradually increases the weight. Okay, gradually increase the load. Okay, that is the direct test. And then in this case, W1 is the weight in the kgs, W2 is also weight in kgs, R is the radius of the pulley, and N is the speed, V is the supply voltage, I is the full load current. Okay, I is the full load current. Next pulley is equal to W1 minus W2, then in kgs, then it will be converted into newtons. We multiplied with 9.81. Okay, then we write down shaft torque, that is TSH. Okay, therefore TSH is equal to W1 minus W2 into R. Okay, it is the kg per meters. Okay, then this kg per meter is converted into Newton meters by multiplying with 9.81. Okay, therefore 9.81 into W1 minus W2 into R Newton meters. Okay, next the motor output power. Output power is equal to TSH into 2 pi n by 60. TSH is the shaft torque. Okay, what is the formula for shaft torque? 9.81 into W1 minus W2 into R. Okay, into R. Next, input power is equal to V into I. Okay, then efficiency is equal to output by input. Okay, where output is the TSH into 2 pi n by 60, by input is the VI. Okay, this is the brake test or the direct test. Okay, next type of test is the Swinburne's test. Okay, next type of test is the Swinburne's test. Okay, this test is a no load test. Okay, and hence cannot be performed on series motor. Okay, this test is performed only on the shunt motor. Why? Because means it is a no load test. Okay, the circuit connection is shown in the figure. Okay, this is the shunt motor. The armature of that motor is connected in parallel to the field winding. Okay, this is the shunt field winding. Okay, this shunt field winding is connected by the rheostat, and the armature is also connected by the rheostat, and we are connecting the ammeters at the shunt field winding and also in the armature. Okay, next the machine is run on the no load, okay, at rated speeds which is adjusted by the shunt field resistance. Okay, first of all, what is the procedure for conducting the Swinburne's test means? First, switch on the supply, that means applying voltage to the motor. Okay, then by gradually increasing the field rheostat, okay, first we are increasing the armature rheostat. After that, we are increasing the field rheostat gradually, and then the motor attains the rated speed. Okay, after motor attains the rated speed, then we are note down the readings for voltmeter and ammeters. Okay, at no load condition only we are taking the one reading at no load condition. Only we are taking the one reading at no load condition. Okay, after taking the values for voltage, shaft current and the armature current, okay, then switch off the supply. Okay, and then we calculate the efficiency at various load conditions. Okay, this type of calculation of efficiency is known as the predetermined efficiency. Okay, what is meant by predetermined efficiency? Without applying the load, we determining the efficiency at various load conditions. Okay, we are assuming the loads only. Okay, that type of efficiency calculation is known as the predetermined efficiency. Okay, understand ma? The type of efficiency calculation is known as the predetermined efficiency. Okay, by using the predetermined efficiency, what are the main advantages means? Okay, we are consuming the less power, but the accuracy is not reached to 100%. Okay, only we obtain some accurate result. Okay, that is approximate values only we obtain by conducting the indirect test, but it draws the very less amount of power. Okay, then the cost for conducting this test is less when compared to the direct test. Okay, that's why we are using the Swinburne's test for testing of a DC shunt motor. Okay, this type of test is not suitable for the series motor. Okay, understand ma? It is suitable only for the shunt motor. Why? Because means this test is conducted in the no load conditions. Okay, what are the main advantages? Is economical. Why? Because it is economical, it draws the less power for conducting this test. That's why it is the economical, because no load input power is sufficient to perform the test. Okay, therefore the efficiency can be predetermined by assuming the various load conditions. Okay, we are calculating the efficiency. Okay, that type of calculation of efficiency is known as the predetermined efficiency, as it is a no load test. Okay, it can be done on the it cannot be done on the series motor. Okay, next, what are the main disadvantages are there in the Swinburne's test? Okay, it is a no load test. Okay, what are the main disadvantages are there for conducting this type of no load test is, okay, change in the iron losses from no load to full load is not taken into account because of armature reaction. Okay, there is no taking of the change in the iron losses. Okay, stray load losses cannot be determined. Okay, in this case, stray load losses cannot be determined, hence the efficiency is overestimated. Okay, therefore the efficiency we are obtaining is the approximate values of efficiency. Okay, that will be obtained. Next, temperature rise of mission cannot be determined. Okay, therefore there is no increases in the temperature. Okay, there is no temperature rise of the mission cannot be determined. Okay, that is does not indicate whether communication would be satisfactory when the mission is loaded. Okay, this is the no load test. Okay, therefore this consumes the very less power. Okay, due to that less power, okay, it is very economical when compared to all the other test, but it does not give the accurate results. Okay, but it does not give the accurate result. Okay, that is the theory for that Swinburne's test. Okay, now next, coming to the calculation for that Swinburne's test, after note down the various readings. Okay, after note down the various readings for for ammeter, voltmeter, and other armature current readings, no load current, shaft current. Okay, then we calculate the efficiency for assumed load conditions. Okay, first of all, I naught. I naught means the no load current. Next, ISH. ISH is the shunt field current. Okay, ISH is shunt field current. Okay, IA naught is the no load armature current. Okay, IA naught is the no load armature current. Okay, what is the armature current formula in shunt motor? IA is equal to IL minus ISH. IL is, in this case, IL means no load current. Okay, that is I naught. Okay, therefore IA is equal to I naught minus ISH. I naught minus ISH. Then V is equal to supply voltage. V is equal to supply voltage. Okay, next coming to the no load input. Okay, what is the no load input formula? V into I naught. V into I naught. Okay, next no load power input, that is iron losses in the core, friction and windage losses, armature, copper losses. Let I is the load current at which the efficiency is required. Next, what is the formula for IA? IA is equal to I minus ISH. If the machine is motoring, okay, if the machine is generator, then in the shunt generator, what is the armature current formula? IL plus ISH. Okay, that's why we are mentioning I plus ISH if the machine is generating efficiency as a motor. Okay, this is the motor armature current and this is the generator armature current. First, what is the input? Okay, what is the input? Input is equal to V into I. V into I. Okay, R IA square RA, R IA square RA, where IA is the armature current and RA is the resistance. Okay, what is the formula for armature current? That is I minus ISH whole square. Okay, IA, therefore, IA is equal to, therefore, IA is equal to I minus ISH. IA is equal to I minus ISH. Okay, then substitute IA equal to I minus ISH whole square into RA. Okay, next coming to the constant losses. Okay, what is the formula for constant losses? That is WC. Okay, that is input minus IA square RA. Okay, input minus IA square RA. Okay, what is the input? VI naught minus IA is IA square RA. Okay, what is the formula for IA square RA? Armature copper losses. Okay, IA square RA is the armature copper losses. Okay, the formula for armature copper losses is IA square RA. Okay, this is the formula for armature copper losses. Okay, that is IA square RA. Okay, then what is the IA formula? I minus ISH. Okay, substitute I minus ISH into RA. Okay, this is the constant losses. Okay, therefore WC is equal to VI naught minus IA square RA. IA is the I naught minus ISH square into RA. Okay, then we calculate the total losses. Okay, therefore total losses is equal to armature copper losses plus constant losses. Okay, armature copper losses is I minus ISH whole square into RA plus constant losses is WC. Okay, understand ma? Plus constant losses is WC. Next, we calculate the efficiency of a motor. Okay, next we calculate the efficiency of a motor. Okay, what is the efficiency for a motor formula? That is output by input. Okay, efficiency of a motor is equal to output by input. Output by input. Next, what is the output formula? Output is equal to input minus losses. Therefore, output is equal to input minus losses by input. Okay, by input. Okay, what is the input? That is electrical power in the case of a motor. V into I naught minus losses. Okay, what is the total losses? Armature copper losses plus constant losses. Okay, what is the armature copper losses? I minus ISH whole square into RA plus constant losses. Okay, what is the constant losses? WC by input. Input is V into I naught. Okay, by input is V into I naught. Okay, this is the output formula and this is the input formula. Okay, next, as a generator. Okay, next we calculate as a generator. Okay, what is the output for generator? We know the output for generator. Okay, what is the output? That is electrical energy. Okay, therefore, output is equal to electrical energy, that is V into I. V into I. Okay, therefore, armature copper losses is Ia square Ra. Armature copper losses is Ia square Ra. Okay, what is the formula for Ia? I plus ISH whole square into Ra. Okay, what is the armature? I plus ISH whole square into Ra. Okay, next coming to the total losses. Coming to the total losses. Constant losses plus armature copper losses. Okay, next coming to the efficiency. Okay, what is the formula for efficiency? Output by input. Okay, we know the output, that is V into I. Okay, what is the input? Output plus losses. Okay, what is the formula for input? Output plus losses. Okay, what is the output? V into I plus losses. Okay, what is the losses? That is armature copper losses. Armature copper losses plus constant losses. Okay, WC is called as the constant losses and this is the armature copper losses. Okay, this is the output by output plus losses. Output by output plus losses. Okay, this is the formula for calculating as a generator and as a motor at full load condition. Similarly, we calculate half load. Okay, that all will be seen in the when solving the problem that will be related to the Swimmer's test. Okay. Next, coming to the problem. Okay, this is the last theory topic in this unit. Okay, next coming to the some problems that will be related to the speed and the tests of a DC mission. Test of a DC mission. Okay, coming to the first problem. Okay, DC series motor having a resistance of 1 ohm. Okay, series motor having a resistance of 1 ohm, driven a fan for which the torque varies as a square of the speed. Therefore, okay, we give the some indication, that is the torque varies as a square of the speed. Okay, therefore, torque is varies the square of a speed. Therefore, TA is proportional to the n square. Therefore, the armature torque TA is varies as the square of a speed. Square of a speed at 220 volts. Okay, the set run at 350 RPM and takes 25 amperes. Okay, run means the speed. Speed N is equal to 350 RPM and current is 25 amperes. Okay, the speed is to be raised to 500 RPM. Therefore, 350 is the N1 speed and 500 is the N2 speed. Okay, by increasing the voltage, okay, then determining the necessary voltage and corresponding current, assuming the field to be unstable. Okay, next, okay, we first we note down the relation for the armature current and the speed. Okay, first we note down the relation for armature current and speed. Therefore, okay, first of all, what is the relation between the armature current and the speed? IA2 by IA1 is equal to N2 by N1. Okay, IA2 by IA1 is equal to N2 by N1. Okay, first we substitute IA2 current. Sorry, IA1 current. Okay, by using this formula, we write down the equation for IA2. Okay, what is the formula for IA2? Okay, therefore IA2 is equal to IA1 into IA1 into IA1 into N2 by N1. Okay, therefore IA2 is equal to IA1 into N2 by N1, where IA1 is the current. Okay, that will be given in the question, that is 25 amperes into N2. Okay, what is the speed N2? That is 500 by N1. Okay, what is the N1 speed? That is 350. N1 is 350. Then we obtain the IA2 current. Okay, next we calculate EB1. EB1 is equal to V minus IA RA. Okay, V minus IA. Okay, what is the IA? That is 25 into RA is equal to 1 ohm. Okay, the resistance of 1 ohm. Okay, then we obtain the EB1 value. Okay, similarly, we obtain the EB2 value. Okay, what is the EB2? EB2 is equal to V minus IA2 by IA2 into RA. IA2 is 250 by 7 into RA. Okay, this is the EB1 and EB2 values. Okay, then phi1 by phi2 equal to I1 by I1 by I2. Okay, what is the I1 current? 25. I2 is 250 by 7. Therefore, phi1 by phi2 equal to 7 by 10. Okay, therefore, phi1 by phi2 equal to 7 by 10. Okay, then N2 by N1 equal to EB2 by EB1 into phi1 by phi2. Okay, this is the another relation. N2 by N1 equal to EB2 by EB1 into phi1 by phi2. Okay, we already calculate the relation phi1 by phi2 is equal to 7 by 10. Okay, substitute phi1 by phi2 equal to 7 by 10 and N2 by N1 is 500 by 350 and EB2 is V2. Okay, this is the V2 and this is the V1. Okay, V2 minus 250 by 7 by EB1 is 195. EB1 is 195. Okay, by using this equation, we obtain the voltage V. Okay, we are having the two relations, that is I2 by I1 equal to N2 by N1. Okay, next N2 by N1 is equal to E2 by E1 into phi1 by phi2. E2 by E1 into phi1 by phi2. Okay, therefore phi1 by phi2 equal to I1 by I2. Okay, phi1 by phi2 equal to I1 by I2. We have three relations are there. I1 by I2 equal to phi1 by phi2. Okay, this is another relation and this is another relation and this is another relation. Okay, we remember both for three relations. Okay, and then we easily find the voltages and the currents at various levels. Okay, understand, ma? Next, coming to the second problem. A DC series motor runs at 1000 RPM. Okay, and runs means speed. N is equal to 1000 RPM when taking 20 amperes. That is IL is equal to 20 amperes at 200 volts. Okay, that is V is equal to 200. Okay, the armature resistance is 0.6 ohms. Series field resistance is 0.2 ohms. Armature means RA and series field means RSC. Okay, find the speed for a total current of 20 amperes. Okay, what is the speed for total current 20 amperes when divert of 0.2 ohm resistance? Okay, this is the speed control method problem is used across the series field. The flux per field current of 20 amperes is 70% of that of 20 amperes. Okay, this is the given data. Okay, by using this given data, okay, what is the flux percentage and what is the speed that will be varied when by using the diverter rheostat? Okay, this will be discussed in the next class. First, we observe the given data for the problem. Okay, this is the problem. First, we calculate the EB1. Okay, this is the series motor. Okay, what is the formula for back EMF EB? EB is equal to V minus IA RA. Okay, what is the armature resistance? IA into what is the IA? RA is equal to 20 amperes. Sorry. IA is equal to 20 amperes and RA is so this is 0.65 ohms. Okay, 0.5 plus 0.2. Okay, then we obtain 186 volts. Next, the given speed is the 1000 RPM. Since the diverter resistance equal series field resistance, the motor current of 20 amperes. Okay, is diverted equally between the twos. Okay, when diverted by 0.2 ohms resistance. Hence, a current of, okay, therefore, the current of the field current is 10 amperes. Okay, flows through the series field and produces a flux of 70%. Okay, corresponding to the 20 amperes. Okay, therefore, phi 1 is equal to flux produced is 70%. Okay, that means we are considering as phi 2 is equal to the 70% of phi 1. Okay, therefore, phi 2 is equal to phi 2 is equal to 0.7 into phi 1. Then phi 1 by phi 2 equal to 1 by 0.7. 1 by 0.7. Okay. Therefore, the combined resistance. Okay. Therefore, the combined their resistance is, okay, the diverter resistance